Good morning, everyone. You're in the office with Joseph Skoda. Joseph Skoda. Many of you don't know I have a degree in psychology, degree in business, degree in aviation, all those things. It's not that I'm smarter than anyone else. I'm always looking for more ways to discover me and what makes me tick. And maybe that's why I'm wearing the glasses right now. I don't want you to know what makes me tick, because sometimes even I get confused. Today, I want to talk to you a little bit about overthinking. Overthinking when things come in our mind over and over again, it often causes sleeplessness, anxiety, depression, even post traumatic stress. We often think about things that could go wrong and how we could fix it, or things we've done and hope it turns out right. A lot of us in relationships, if we haven't heard from our loved one or significant other in a few hours or even a few days, especially, oh my goodness, what are they doing? What are they thinking about? What kind of trouble are they getting into? Do I need to be worried? We often are worried, and sometimes it's a good reason to be, and sometimes maybe not so much. We overthink our own children. They're going to make it through uh, college, let alone just school, make it through everyday life without getting picked on? Or are we going to overthink if our boss is mad at us, or we're going to get the job, or why are we not living the life we expected to already? It's a real thing, and it causes a lot of anxiety in all of our lives. Real recently, I've got things going through my head right now where I'm sleeping only 2 to 3 hours a day or night. I don't even know anymore because it's not even consistent. A couple hours here, a couple hours there, but I'm full of sleeplessness. And we let anxiety and depression set in, things that we don't understand. It's really crazy. So here I'm wearing glasses, and that's another way to overthink, because I always wonder, what are people going to think about me wearing glasses? Well, it really doesn't matter. But think about what overthinking is. It's the inability to think about, quite frankly, anything else. If you're stressed, you're focused on woe is me, the life is going to fall apart. You're always going to be thinking of all of those negative actions, right? And what can go right, like being unable to relax. I've got nice furniture. I have a nice home. I have a roof over my head. So grateful for that. Sometimes I just can't relax. Things are going on outside that we're unable to control. So a lot of us are constantly feeling worried or anxious about what could go wrong. No one gets anxious about what could go right. It's what could go wrong. And we fixate on things that, quite frankly, are out of our control. As I mentioned earlier, I cannot control the weather. I can't even really control how my kids are going to turn out when they leave home. A lot of things we can't control, and we get all fixated on that. And that fixation can cause us to be mentally exhausted. We're drained, we're stressed out, and there's really no reason for it. But because of that, we have a lot of negative thoughts. And when we can have too many negative thoughts and we're overthinking issues, it can actually cause depression and suicidal thoughts. And oh, snap out of that. Can't believe I talked about that. But when we replay a situation over and over in our mind, right? We didn't make the football team. Why? Because I missed that ball. Why did I miss the ball? Because the field was wet. I slipped. Whatever. So we're overthinking, or we're getting stressed over something we really don't have any control over. And yeah, it makes us angry at the time, but we can move on and even have a better life because of it. And how many of us second guess our decisions? Yeah, I'll go to the bar with you. Oh, maybe I should go to the bar with you. Oh, it's early. It's only 2 in the afternoon. Well, 2 in the afternoon, but we might go home till 4 and people get off work and happy. We always second guess our decisions. Should I buy that house? Should I purchase that car? I think a lot of us feel that way, but we go through that from time to time, trying to figure out why we can't just make a decision and go with it. And therefore, we always think of the worst case scenarios. I'm going to buy this car. It's going to break apart or break down in the next couple months. It's going to cost me even more money. I'm going to get in this relationship. It's not going to work out because none of my relationships work out. That causes problems because the overthinking just makes our heads hurt. It makes our heads hurt. Making decisions can really be a struggle. You might even try to convince yourself that thinking longer and harder may actually help you spend more time on an issue than we need to. Because after all, you're looking at a problem from every possible angle, and you overanalyze, you overthink, you obsess over things, and usually women do. Men do too sometimes, but usually women psychoanalyze everything, and men just make a decision. If it works, it works. If it doesn't, it doesn't. Now, that's generalizing things, of course, but a majority, women are more nurturing and more sensitive than most men. Though in today's world, I'm not really sure. It's kind of the media somewhere people want to demasculize men. And that's something to overthink about it. Like, oh, how can I be more sensitive to everybody? I said, get over it. Be a man, be a woman, and uh, communicate the best you can and make concessions wherever possible. But don't demean yourself with what we were born to be. Decisions sometimes, we're always second guessed. Like I said, you waste a lot of time thinking your life would be better if I married this person, or if I moved there, if I took this job. Well, we can't do a whole lot about it right now. Yeah, we can be pissed and upset the rest of our lives and think of all the negative things, but we don't have to. And we don't have to overgeneralize ideas. So people say, okay, I overthink. How do I get away from overthinking? How do I get away from everything upsetting me? Sometimes we just have to step back and look how we're responding to other people. We're responding to different actions and things that come our way. Sometimes we just want to run, but what's the primary emotion behind some of our thoughts? And if they go back, emotional intelligence, sometimes we feel or act away because of something happened in our childhood. Those things are real. So they recommend, at least the experts recommend, we find a distraction. Learn maybe a new kitchen skill or even a new recipe or go into a workout class or starting new hobbies. That's what I love about Toastmasters. Because we can talk about anything. And then next week we'll do a different speech and talk about something else. And volunteering. Volunteering with, for me, the disabled American veterans or veterans of foreign war, GI connections, all of those things are important because it's distracting from things that are bothering me. I know it's always hard to start something new, and you can be overwhelmed. Like, oh my, like if you're going to take square dancing, I haven't square danced pretty much since high school, and maybe that's a bad example, but take up dancing in general. And at least me, I didn't. I grew up dancing, but my dancing is different than real dancing. I could trip over myself and fall down and do all those crazy things. So just take a deep breath and try it anyways. Try it anyway. You might be comfortable. Like I hated speaking in public. I didn't like to be the center of attention. I was afraid of reading a transcript, let alone doing this interaction one on one. But today it's something I kind of fell in love with. And believe it or not, I'd rather talk in person than to you in front of a computer screen. It's okay, but I'm not getting the same interaction and feedback that I need to be a better speaker, better communicator. But I'm okay with it. It's something you have to practice with. Put a hand on your heart, hand over your belly, just breathe. Take it all in, slow down. And believe it or not, meditation works. It's not just for the monks or people going through Lamaze class. It's a time you can sit back and reflect and just, it needs about 5 minutes, 6 minutes in a quiet spot just to think, just to relax, just to thank God for everything going right and thank God in advance for things that are going to go better that sometimes we overthink for no reason at all. If we can just look at the bigger picture, often we're involved in committees. Hey, I need you to take care of the decoration, you can take care of the music, you take care of the food. And we all get our little part that we need to take care of. We have the responsibility for. But look at the bigger picture. Even if we fall short of getting the right food or the right decorations or entertainment, you look at the bigger picture, how we're going to grow and we're going to help. And you learn how to coordinate, network, associate with the other committees to ensure a more positive outflow in the future. We can't beat ourselves up after the fact or even on the way there. We kind of have to sit back and how can we do better? And here's something really crazy. What about just doing something nice for someone else? You could give to the Joseph Skoda retirement fund. That would be a great thing. But anyways, you ever pick up the groceries for a neighbor or check on someone when they're sick? I mean, those are ways to get out of ourselves or overthinking by just doing something for someone else. And sometimes that's just listening, being learning psychology and learning how to be a mentor, a communicator, just sitting back and not like this. This is a listen. You have to be open. Just listen to someone else is doing something nice for someone else, and it pays huge dividends. And sometimes we have to just recognize our automatic negative thoughts. I know people are negative about everything. We hear about the optimist who looks at the good in everything, and the pessimist that looks at the bad in everything. For instance, my drink. Oh my goodness, my drink is half full, or is it half empty, or is it well, whatever it was, I enjoyed one of the drink I already had, and that's always exciting. And keep the ants away or ain'ts away. I ain't able to do that. I can't do this. I can't do that. You got to break down those emotions and try to identify what you're telling yourself about your situation, how you can get away from that negative attitude. Do I think negatively sometimes? Of course I do, and we all do. But we need to, I hate to say, just snap out of it. And the way to snap out of it is obviously looking for different distractions we talked about. But sometimes when we have something that's causing us anxiety, if we just take a little notebook, okay, when I eat fish, I get anxious. When I talk to this neighbor, I have anxiety. When I'm in this situation, I usually hide. Write those things down and then you can focus later, like, huh, why do I hide every time someone's talking about politics? I understand because sometimes I want to I get you in certain situations and certain environments, you do want to run and hide because you can overthink and be yourself a little bit too much. I understand that. And how many of us have little successes in life when you're in the midst of overthinking and you stop and take out your favorite note taken up on your phone, just jot down things that have actually gone right over this past week. Took things to the thrift shop, right? I donated over here. I helped little Johnny with his homework. I took Mrs. Smith her groceries. I listened to Fred over there. Oh, I listened to Fred's stuff. But we don't have to say, oh boy, it was hard on me. Those are little successes. When we do something for someone else, it should make us feel good. And if we can stay present to what's going on today, what might be going on tomorrow, because we can't really change yesterday. One of our biggest problems, thankfully, I don't have one in front of me. We need to unplug. Unplug, stay away from your phone, stay away from the computer, not necessarily stay away from your loved ones, but unplug from all that mass media that's just feeding our brains negativity. Just stay away from that. You can unplug even from junk food. I like junk food. I like my little soda every now and then, but if we can eat mindfully and what they say, we're supposed to eat to live, not live to eat. That's what I mean. When we eat to live, it's just eating the necessities. Yeah, snack every now and then. That's to keep our bodies going. But sometimes we think we just want to live to eat. I get this cake and this pie and this donut and this ice cream. I love all those things too. We have to minimize that. We only have one temple. and we often destroy it. And that causes us to overthink also. So get outside, take a walk outside, get some fresh air, talk to the neighbor's dog. I like to, in the mornings, grab my cup of coffee and sit on the front porch. And I watch people go to work. Since I don't have a job, a real job, I'm able to watch others go to work or kids go to school. And I'm sitting there, maybe with a bowl of oatmeal and a cup of coffee, 20, 30 minutes. And it's nice. I smell the fresh air in most cases. And I'm just relaxing, getting away from the electronics in the house and the artificial lighting. We need to get better lighting. And sometimes we overthink because we think we have all the answers. And no one else is thinking like us. Well, they're all wrong. They're all wrong, and they need to get their act together, right? If we learn how to consider others, maybe some of their viewpoints, different points of view, of course, we can learn something. We may not change our minds, and that's okay if I believe, well, whatever, Protestant or Catholic. They're both Christians, but they have a different ideology about the way things go around us spiritually. And it's okay to learn when you're grounded in your religion and your faith. It's a little bit easier, and you'll stay away from the distractions. Well, listen to people. I have friends who are Hindi and Muslim and other cultures also. Just listen. And outside of all that, we all want love and peace, a roof over our head, food in our bellies, a way to make a living, take care of our families. We all want the basic things, the basic necessities. If you can just stick to that, you get along a lot better than arguing about the spiritual world outside. But don't change your viewpoints or your goals if they're important. We all need values, family values, but it's okay to listen. Why do I feel? Why do I think a certain way? Sometimes we just don't know. So we go through a lot of this. Okay, I'm thinking to meditate. I'm thinking to distract myself. I'm thinking about listening to other people's viewpoints. Well, instead of just thinking about it, why don't we just do it? Actually go outside for 30 minutes a day. Going for a walk is even better than just sitting there. Take a little bit of action. It's better for our bodies. Um, Fresh air kind of depends on where you live, but air outside is still usually better for us than air inside of our house. If we're having a bad day, talk to someone about it. Or better yet, listen to someone else's bad day. As long as there's not too much griping and complaining going on, we can sit back and just chit chat back and forth and like, yeah, maybe my day's not so bad. I really feel sorry for you, but maybe my day's not so bad. And that's one of the other things that we can just practice compassion. And not just compassion for others. What about ourselves? What about taking note of our stressful thoughts? So what about paying attention to our emotions and our responses that arise? So it's not a pity party, it's just compassion and loving ourselves. Like, yeah, I'll be all right. I'll get through this. I just need a little more practice or help from God Almighty and time to meditate on what's good and what's working. So self-compassion is huge. Learn to love ourselves first. And if we're fearful of public speaking, if we're fearful of letting people know how we feel, our emotions, embrace them. Some of the best speakers I've ever heard are those that even comedians, they kind of make fun of themselves first. Yes, I would love to talk to you, but I'm afraid of you. Yes, I would love to cook a meal, but it's always a mess. And however that works, just embrace your fears and say, but I'll go through this with your help. I can get through this. Anyways, it's not easy. And sometimes we just have to ask for help. I do a lot of counseling and mentoring with so many people for different reasons. Sometimes it's business, sometimes it's just getting our mind straight again. And I'm a veteran and I spent a lot of time talking to other veterans, helping them find a purpose in their lives once again, because once we leave the military, for a lot of us, we don't really have a job lined up. We think we do, but if it doesn't work out, we just don't know what we're gonna do. So, we're really quickly to get rid of some of this overthinking, we have to find those distractions, right? We have to challenge those negative thoughts. We have to work on our own skills, self-confidence, self-control, self-awareness, learn how to meditate, self-acceptance, compassion for ourselves, of course, and get therapy if we need to. And nothing's wrong with that. There's always been a stigma about therapy or getting help or asking for help. And I understand. I was there too. And sometimes I'm still there. It was a few years ago, I met this psychologist when I was going through my own depression, anxiety, what was going on in my world, and what was me. He just kept, you know, we'd sit in his office a little bit time for this one on one, but I got more out of when we have breakfast together. And he'd invite a few other people. We just have a conversation. Someone having trouble with their kids, someone else with their wife, someone else they couldn't find a work, and you watch every guy step back and interact every now and then. But those of us that had certain issues were the ones kind of helping each other through it. Kind of interest, kind of wonder where all my money went. Well, he'd buy breakfast quite often, which was nice. But you learned the interaction in a safe environment for the rest of us, where we can talk openly and ask, what would you do? How should I handle this situation? How do I get these plants to grow behind me? That turned out to be very valuable to us, invaluable, different than just sitting in the office because no one person has all the answers. So a good counselor just sits back, listens, take notes, and regurgitates what you say. Hey, doc, I don't understand my wife. Been together 10 years. Honeymoon stage is over. The kids are grown, and we're kind of losing connection with each other. So all you can do is, well, what makes you think you lose a connection? How did life change over the years? We're all getting older. Things are falling apart. Well, whatever that is. But when you can talk like that with two or three other people and feel almost the same way, you could probably get a better response or purpose on how to persevere, how to move on from there. It's not easy. Life is challenging, as we all know sometimes, and that's okay. But we have this self doubt, and we overthink things, and it causes this our minds to explode a little bit. And we don't want exploding minds. And if we do have children or people watching us, we want to come across that we have our act together. And more often than not, as they mature, they know that we're struggling every day just like everyone else is. Well, with all that being said, I know I came up with these glasses because I like to look super cool. I do. I like to look super cool. I don't want you to know I'm overthinking things, and I can barely have a meeting without a hat. It's my thing, and sometimes we're hiding behind a wall, a facade. We want people to think that we know what's going on a little bit better than the average person. But more often than not, you and I have the same challenges, the same stressors as everyone else. It's up to you and I to find a way to challenge ourselves to kind of figure things out and ask for help when necessary. And if our mind starts wandering all over the place, find distractions because distractions can get you back on track. Anyways, this is Joseph Skoda encouraging you, challenging you, asking you not to overthink things. That's what our spouses are for. And more often than not, the women overthink more than guys. But more often than not, women kind of have a better answer. Us guys, we need to be guys. We have to be stern and direct and make a rational decision. It's okay to listen. to our significant others. They may have the right answer. And stop overthinking it. But that being said, you're in the office with Joseph Skoda. I look forward to hearing your stories. Definitely subscribe to our channel. Find out what social media has to say, but don't live around social media. There's a real life to live out there. Have a great day now. Bye. If you liked our show, please subscribe to our YouTube channel or find us on any social media platform, Instagram, of course, Facebook. Like, subscribe, share. We appreciate it. Let us know your thoughts and join our team. Anyways, we appreciate you staying tuned week after week, day after day, because we continuously build up our network to bring to you what you're asking for. Have a great day.